Hello, welcome back to Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. We have finished tearing down the engine of the car and replacing the head gasket, and now we are in the process of reassembling the engine. At this point, I have already cleaned both surfaces of the head and the engine block. I applied a thin layer of gasket material, and I also applied the head gasket itself. The head is now in place, and I've also installed the new head bolts. Now these are the head bolts, and with the head bolt kit you buy, you never reuse the same head bolts you had pulled out of the car. You always buy new ones. And the long bolts, there's two sizes of bolts. There's 8 bolts total in the kit per head. So the long bolts will go inside the head itself, and the short bolts go on the bottom of the head where the spark plugs are. That's where the short bolts are. Now when I install them, they're just finger tight, and now we will use a special tool to torque them down. The special tool is called a torque wrench. The torque wrench is so because this handle it has adjustable torque settings on it, and when you store your torque wrench, just as a note, always store it with the torque off. So when we're adjusting the torque wrench to the specific pounds or kilograms that we need to torque those head bolts in, according to the specifications of the manufacturer, we will adjust this according to the torque. And then when you turn it, it clicks, and that means it stops at that preset torque specification that you set your wrench at. The torquing sequence that you're going to follow on these particular engines of this make and model, the engine's in 1996, so this is the first bolt you torque. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, then you come back up here, 5, 6, and to the back of the engine, 7 and 8, the last at the back of the head on the bottom. Okay, we're going to set the torque to 16 foot-pounds. So we're at 10 foot-pounds right now. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There's 16 foot-pounds. And then we lock it into place, and we start at our first bolt. Okay, that was 16 foot-pounds on all the bolts. Okay, now this sequence is 29 foot-pounds. This sequence is to 37 foot-pounds. And now in this sequence you give it 1/4 of a turn. And now we replace the rods and rocker arms. Okay, we're just going finger tight right now until we get the torque specs out of the book. Now the reason why I'm taking my time and showing you guys every detail is due to the fact that as I was looking on the internet trying to figure out, like YouTube videos, trying to find a good video presentation on how to do this. I found some, but they were so brief and they missed a lot of steps. I was lost, so I had to go consult the book. So, and besides, for a newbie who's just starting out trying to figure out how to do this themselves, there's some good sound advice that I've learned over the years from my experienced auto mechanic friends to be able to pass on to you. Okay, torquing the rocker arm, I set the torque wrench to 20, is 17 to 20 pounds. Okay, I placed the head gasket on the head, and what I do is I put a thin film, very thin film of head gasket material, it's gasket in a tube, on the surfaces, both surfaces, and then I stick my gaskets on. Now we got this gasket in place. This is for the intake manifold. Here's my intake manifold. And we're going to apply a thin coat of sealant, and what I'm using is a high temp sealant. So we're going to just do there was evidence of this done on this engine before, so apparently before I purchased the car there was some engine work done to it, which doesn't surprise me. I mean, the car's in 1996. The gentleman I purchased the car from was put it that way, he was a millionaire, self-made billionaire, and he kept meticulous care of this car. So when I got it, it was in perfect condition. It had been in and out of the shop with every hint of every little thing that went on. The next thing I have to do on this car is replace the catalytic converter. This thing has, I think, 6 catalytic converters on it, which is ridiculous, but it is what it is. So the one catalytic converter on the passenger side on the front of the muffler system is bad. So I have to take it into the muffler shop because I do not know how to weld. But I got some tips from a variety of different YouTube videos and my book, mainly my book, mainly around these ports. Okay, I'm going to set the head in place, and I'll let you guys sit back and watch me. Okay, now remember those bolts we took out of here? We're going to replace them exactly as I had placed them in the box. So here's the box, and here's the bolt positions. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take those down to the finger tight position. Okay, and what do we have here? We have it is a 13. Okay. And then when I get ready to torque these down, I will show you the series of torquing like we did the head. Now we're just getting them seated. Now a real mechanic will take this manifold and put it in a parts cleaner and put these heads, and I'll always send them down to a head shop and have them spec'd and all the seats redone. But I am not a professional, and I don't have the money to do this. I just want to get the beast back on the road. That's a little separate. Now I don't want to tighten this down yet because there's a certain sequence to do it in so you get a good seal. And a couple of these are going to have to be done with a box end wrench. Like my post here. I don't have a deep socket, so I'm going to have to use my box end wrench to get that seated. Okay, and there we go. It's on. Okay, the intake manifold is 7 to 9 foot-pounds. The torquing sequence is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now we're just waiting for a click on the torque wrench. Click. At this point you want to put your exhaust manifold on before you put your valve cover on. So that concludes this video, video number 6, on restoring this head gasket on this car. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. You've come to Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. Please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And come back again. The final video is on its way.